Hey guys, welcome to the New 50 Noob. I'm Simple Simon, I'm your comic book noob, and you may have realized recently that this show has basically become a show where I just show you the books that I've picked up for the week. But today, I wanted to go back to my roots. So a little while back, in fact, I believe it was the second episode of New 50 Noob, I did an episode called My Top 5 Female Characters. Now, I knew nothing about comic books back then. I still don't know anything about comic books. And I also knew nothing about making videos back then. I didn't even know how to make pictures show up, you know, in the corner back then. So it was a long time ago. So I thought today I would actually do the opposite and do a top 5 male comic book characters. It's been an idea I've had for quite some time now, and I really just want to take this show back to its roots because I feel like it's starting to get a bit repetitive. So without further ado, this is my top 5 male comic book characters. Let's do this. Alright, so kicking off this list at number 5 is an interesting one. In fact, I feel kind of weird having this character on my list. Main reason being, I've never actually read the comic this character is from. However, the character himself was a big influence to me and meant a lot to me in my teenage years growing up because I did watch the movie that was adapted from the comic book. And that is Eric Draven from The Crow. That's right, you didn't see that one coming, did you? Now, The Crow is probably more well known for its movies as it spawned a bunch of sequels. Now, The Crow comic book was written by James O'Barr and was originally published by Caliber Comics, who I've never heard of. Hang on, what? Did I do research for this video? That's right, I did, for the first time ever. It's kind of weird. So yeah, The Crow originally published on Caliber Comics, eventually was republished on other labels such as Image, has actually gained quite a cult following. Now, The Crow itself is the story of Eric Draven and his beloved Shelley. That's her name in the movie. I actually don't know if that's the name in the comic book. So in the movie, they're both tragically murdered and Shelley is basically beaten and raped. It's horrid stuff. Both are murdered and Eric Draven is brought back to life by a crow and to avenge the death of his beloved one. That is everything to me. I mean, you know, I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. So yeah, The Crow comic book is something I've actually always wanted to read since I've gotten into comics, and it will be something I get around to. And I thought he was definitely worth a mention on this list because even though I haven't read the comic, the character himself, Eric Draven, has been a big part of my life. So at number 5, that is Eric Draven. So if you're watching this video and you're actually new to my channel, basically I am very new to the world of comic books. I've only been into comics for about a bit over a year, so I don't know a lot. Now, at number 4 is another interesting one that I don't think anyone would have in their top 5 list at all. And that is Sideways. Who ways? Sideways. Now, the character Sideways was a part of the whole new age of superheroes from DC, which was spawned from the events of Scott Snyder's Dark Knight's Metal series. I did actually read that comic. It was confusing AF. So what I'm about to say to you doesn't make sense to me at all, but basically during Dark Knight's Metal, what happened was the source wall was broken and new powers were released into the universe. I don't really know what that means. But basically a bunch of new characters were spawned from it who obviously picked up these powers, and Derek James was one of them. Derek James is the alias of Sideways. So being new to comic books, basically when the whole new age of heroes came out, I said to myself, man, this is cool. I'm a new reader in the world of comic books, and they've just spawned all these new characters who are new to the world of DC. And to me, I was like, I should read these guys. I should pick one of these guys to be my hero, you know, from the very beginning. There's a big history that you basically have to catch up on, and I don't have a lot of time to do that. So I've really just been reading a lot of the more current stuff from the last year. So yeah, I decided Sideways was going to be my new age hero. Now, Sideways' powers are basically he can create rifts, which is basically he can create a tear in the space-time continuum and then jump through that and teleport anywhere that he wants to be, as long as he knows where that place is. Now, Derek's best friend is a girl named Ernestine, who happens to be a cosplayer. I love the character Ernestine. She's very cool, she's very fun. She's basically creates Sideways' costume because she's a cosplayer. And just the way her look is, she's always wearing like a onesie. I love the character of Ernestine. She's almost like his little sidekick, but almost like a big sister kind of role. Not a lot of people jumped on board with the whole new age of superheroes, and all of them basically were cancelled. Sideways lasted 13 issues. So yeah, I just thought I'd put Sideways on my list because, you know, he meant something to me being a new reader. So yeah, number 4, Sideways. Okay, and number 3, we've got someone who a lot of people like, and that is a villain, and that is the Joker. I don't quite understand why I like the Joker. I don't quite understand why everyone else likes the Joker. So if you're a big fan of the Joker, please leave in the comments why you like the Joker so much. I've mentioned before in my videos that one time I went to a dress-up party as the Joker, and wearing that face paint, it was really bizarre. I basically just became obsessed with the character the Joker. In fact, one of the first books I actually bought when I got into comics was The Joker, Death of the Family. For God knows how long, well before I was obsessed with the Joker, I always had a Joker card hidden in my wallet, which is just a funny thing. What I do love about him is how mysterious he is. No one truly knows where he came from, what his true origin story is. I also like the fact that he is a Joker. He does like to make jokes. He doesn't take life too serious, because why so serious, right? My first experience with the Joker was obviously from the 66 Batman series, which was made famous by Cesar Romero. And then after that, obviously became Jack Nicholson from the 1989 Batman movie, which again, I was a massive fan of as a kid. I was a big fan of Joaquin's Joker. However, Heath Ledger for me is still my favorite version of the Joker, just because the differences between Heath and Joaquin is they're two completely different movies. Joaquin's Joker was perfect for the Joker movie. Heath Ledger's version of Joker was perfect for a Batman type of movie. A quick recommendation, it might not be for everyone, but my favorite book I've actually read since I started getting into comics was Brian Azzarello's Joker. I just love the dark and grittiness of it all. That's what I really dig about comic books. I'm not too into the really funny, silly sort of stuff. Look, it depends if I'm in the mood or not, but really I dig DC for their dark, gritty stories, and that's what I like to see more of, and I love seeing the Joker in those kind of stories. Now, number 2, Dick Grayson. I call him Dick Grayson because obviously he's Nightwing, but he was also Robin, which is how I was first introduced to Dick Grayson, as Robin, sidekick of Batman. He was always living in the shadows of Batman, which I guess is why he became Nightwing. And for me, it's a little bit more relatable. I can't relate to Superman, I can't relate to Batman because I have never been the best at anything. Anything I'm good at, I feel like I'm always going to be in the shadow of someone else. And I feel like that's why I can appeal more to a character like Dick Grayson. He wants to be great. He wants to prove that he can be a great hero without Batman. And he absolutely can. Now, Dick Grayson is obviously portrayed in the current TV series DC's Titans, which I love. It is my favorite show that's out. I love, again, the grittiness. It's made for grown-ups, right? I mean, there was an episode where there was boobs, and I was like, whoa, did not expect boobs. But yeah, I love Dick Grayson, because yeah, he's always that guy. He's gonna be living in the shadow of Batman, but yeah, really wants to make it on his own. So, Dick Grayson, Nightwing, he's my number 2. Now, number 1, it's pretty obvious if you know me or you watch my channel. Here's another ex-Robin, and that is Jason Todd. Now again, I'm very new in the world of comics. However, I know who Dick Grayson was, and now I realize I always knew who Jason Todd was. When I read comics as a kid, I didn't understand comics. When I read the comic Death in the Family, which is the death of Jason Todd, I was like, how come Jason Todd is Robin? And how come Dick Grayson is Nightwing? Very bizarre. So I actually have had an attachment to these two characters actually since I was a kid. I just didn't realize it until I got back into comics. Jason Todd is like the runt of the Bat family, you know? He's the outcast. I believe his origin is he met Batman by getting caught stealing the wheels off the Batmobile. Who does that? Who has the balls to steal the wheels off the Batmobile? So yeah, I guess the thing I like about Red Hood is the fact that he's like the anti-hero. He started off as a bad guy. I mean, not that I've ever really been a bad person, but I believe in second chances. I believe if someone wasn't a great person at one stage of their life, they can change. I mean, and also the fact that he's basically Batman with guns. As a lot of people refer to him, he's like Punisher Batman. Red Hood in the comic book world seems to have quite a big underground following. Everyone loves him for his traditional look, which is the red helmet, he has like the brown leather jacket and things like that. More recently, they redesigned him and gave him more of a Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero Scorpion type of look. And again, as a new reader, that really appealed to me, because for me it was like, this is my Red Hood, you know? That really appealed to me, and I actually love his new look. In fact, I'll leave a link to my cosplay video of the new Red Hood, so you can check that out. But yeah, Red Hood tops out my list for top 5. Again, I know it probably wasn't the most informative video for you guys, but remember, I am the comic book noob. And that's my video for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to my channel. If you like this kind of content, all my videos are about comic books, toys, cosplay, with a pinch of mixed martial arts and a sprinkle of weirdness. If you like this video, please give it a like, and until next time, as always, I'm Simple Simon. Keep it simple.